It's time for another tier list video, and today, instead of ranking products, we're going to be ranking trends, the biggest beauty trends we've been seeing in 2024. Which ones do I like? Which ones do I hate? This is a lot like my regular tier list videos, but I did rework the tier list today because I felt like we needed to rename the categories in order to rank the trends. So let me walk you through the new categories here. So at the very top, we've got the ones that I love. These are my favorites. I'm calling this Count Me In. These are the ones I will be participating in, that I have been participating in, that I really like. Just beneath that, we've got I dabble. It's like, I dabble in this, I do this, I like it. I'm about this. It is not as integral to my routine as that top spot of Count Me In, but like, I do this, I've been doing this, I try it, I'm participating, I'm a fan. The middle tier, I'm calling Love That For You, because maybe I've tried it and I like it, it's fine, but it has not become a staple in my routine. But when other people are doing it, I respect it and I get it. I love that for you. And then we've got the lower tier ones. This is where I'm not as big of a fan. So we've got the tier right beneath that I'm calling Wrap It Up. These are the ones that I'm bored of. Get these trends out of here, wrap it up, we're about done with that. And beneath that, I'm calling We Will Regret This. This is for the Instagram browse, that was when you look back on and you're like, why did I do that? That's what we're putting in, we'll regret that. Okay, I've got made a list of trends here that I want to run through, and what's interesting about this is that it kind of has sparked in my head the idea in general about manufactured trends, and I think that could almost be an entirely separate video. But what's really interesting is to analyze this list and look at the trends that I'm actually seeing in real life versus the trends that seem to only exist online and almost were created out of nowhere. And I'm like, who's doing this? Are people doing this? Maybe, maybe not. Like, manufactured trends in general could be its own dedicated video, and let me know if you would want to see that. But I'm gonna start off with the one that is like a trend of the moment that I did a little video on. It's called boyfriend blush, okay? So this one is like a current this week type of trend. Like, okay, 2 months from now, no one's gonna be doing this, I don't think, but right now I'm seeing it very big. It has been coined boyfriend blush. So it's essentially a new blush placement, which I actually kind of appreciate, because for the last few years, there's been a huge emphasis on like very, very high lifted blush, which is fun, and for the right face shape, I think it can be really flattering and ideal. But we all have such different face shapes, and we all have different desires for our outcome that we want to see from our blush. I do like, in a weird way, that this boyfriend blush trend deviates so far from the lifted blush that has been like bombarding beauty trends these last few years. So the name is definitely silly. I don't know, this is what I would have chosen to name it, but I didn't make this trend up, okay? And I think it's supposed to represent, like, sometimes you'll just see like men tend to have great eyelashes, or like this beautiful like blushy look here, and you're like, why can't my face naturally look like that? Like, this is what this trend is intending to emulate. That's just like natural rosy flush that was created without product. It is much lower on the cheek, very reminiscent of like a Renaissance painting, where it almost emphasizes the fullness of the face. And so for that, I know this contradicts what we've always been told, but I love this blush placement on a round face shape, because it emphasizes the fullness and this like beauty in the roundness of your face. So I know it feels so counterintuitive to put blush like this low on your face, especially when you have a round face and you've been told your entire life, like, oh, here's how to lift your face. I like that this trend actually leans into doing the opposite and dragging down the face. And I've only heard this trend. Okay, I'm spending so long on boyfriend blush. I don't think I'm gonna talk this long about all these, but I have so many thoughts on boyfriend blush. But I just think for so long, we've always been taught that like, if you have a round face or your face kind of isn't as lifted, like, here's what you should do to lift it. Like, instead of seeing the beauty in this face shape, we're instead told like, here's how to change it to what is preferred. I like that boyfriend blush is like throwing all the rules out the window. Like, no, this is actually going to drag your face down, and it's going to emphasize how round your face is, but in a way that is so beautiful and youthful. And so all that long description behind me, I'm trying to decide if this goes in I dabble or Love That For You. I think ideally, I would put it right in between the two, but since I have to choose, I'm gonna put it in Love That For You, because I just think this is it's exciting to see any type of blush placement that deviates from that lifted look and just emphasizes a different facial structure and says like that's pretty too. Okay, so the way I compiled my list, a lot of them were things that I have just observed myself. Also from some magazine articles noting what are the hot new things for 2024, but I also asked you on my Instagram stories to share your favorite and least favorite trends so I could react to some and rank them on this tier list. And one that wasn't on my original list that I was like, wait, I love this. I saw a couple people respond with Sabrina Carpenter makeup. So if you're not familiar with Sabrina Carpenter, she's the pop princess extraordinaire. You know the song Espresso, that's Sabrina Carpenter. I don't know why I'm explaining this. I'm sure you're all like, girl, of course we know who Sabrina Carpenter is. But anyways, she has this very distinct makeup look, and I would say the pillars of her makeup, not the pillars, that's not the word I want to say, but the key features, if you will, of the Sabrina Carpenter look that everyone has been trying to replicate is this bright pink blush. And you're gonna notice a lot of these trends revolve around blush today. Like this is not the last time we'll be talking about blush in this video, but Sabrina Carpenter makeup is this like very bright punchy pink, and it almost has this like iridescence about it. It has kind of the tied in eyeshadow look with a lot of shimmer. It's this very specific pink tone. I've seen so many people talking about how she gets her pink blush. She's mentioned like multiple different blushes. I don't think there's just one. Like I've seen her mention a Makeup by Mario blush, I think an Armani blush. She said she uses multiple shades, so it's not necessarily just like one particular product here, but it's the overall look of this like pink fairy princess look. I would almost say if we're talking about like micro trends, it feels adjacent to Sugar Plum Fairy makeup that was popular last winter. Do you know what I mean? You're either like, yes, or you're like, literally, what are you talking about? Okay, so this one, I'm gonna warn you now. It's not gonna make sense because I'm gonna place this so high and then later on I'm going to rank a trend that is like tangentially related to this much lower, and you're gonna be like, Kelly, why? But I don't know, I have my reasons. I really like Sabrina Carpenter makeup. I'm gonna say I dabble because I've tried this out. I like the look. I don't know if the bright pink is necessarily for me, but I even like just the placement of the blush and that it's not so targeted. It's really taking up a very large region of the cheek. Like it is like, here's the blush. I also think it's just like fun and flirty, and what I like about a lot of these trends is that they can be created with things that you already have. I think, you know, and it really contrasts a lot of trends that we watch, like especially these micro trends that we watch in fashion, because they require you to go and buy something new to consume to participate in the trend. But even with a lot of these there's a fuzz on my nose. Help. But with a lot of these beauty trends, you can participate with the things that you already have. It's about changing the placement, changing the order, changing something with products you have. So that's why I like this Sabrina Carpenter look, or like the boyfriend blush. It's like there's just fun in trying it out. Next one is one that I initially had on before this video, but I think maybe now less of, if that makes sense. And that is defined lip liner. I mentioned this in my predictions for 2024. I thought we were going to see the return of a very sharp and bold and defined lip line, and we definitely have. This is a trend that I love. I really appreciate the way that it emphasizes the lip shape. I have some very pointy lips myself, so I like taking the lip liner and almost exaggerating the point of the lip line, and there's just something so fun about it. So this one, by the way, the reason I said I feel like I was participating and now I'm not is because I had my lip liner on, but I feel like I can feel it moving around as I'm talking because I'm wearing this. I had to go grab it. The new Kosas Hot Liners. Now, this is the shade Supreme, which I want to love. I want to love all these Kosas lip liners, but what I mentioned in my review was that they're almost too creamy for me, that they don't stay in place. So I feel like I put it on initially and my lips look great, but then it kind of gives me more of a blurred out lip line, which is pretty too, but it's not the effect I'm after. But I'm so bummed. So I'm using this today and it already broke. It won't twist up anymore. I've probably used this 3 times. So I wanted to make that call out in case you had your eye on these new lip liners from Kosas. I already said in my review, I don't particularly like them because they're not as sharp and long wearing as I want, or not that they're not long wearing, but they're too creamy. They're just too creamy. But beyond that, it is already broken. Huge Bummer. Did I say the ranking? I put it in count me in. Did I say that? I think I said that. Another blushy one of the moment is Sunset Blush. So I've been seeing this one a lot. This is maybe one of those like more online manufactured trends. This is not necessarily one I'm seeing out in real life. Like, oh my gosh, everyone around me is wearing Sunset Blush. No, but every reel and or TikTok that I've seen for the last couple weeks has done Sunset Blush. So I want to include it here. And if you haven't seen it, it's basically like a bright pink, a bright orange, and then a gold highlighter. And then you kind of blend it together. It mimics a sunset. This for me feels like the blush version for 2024 of the like 2014, 2015 sunset smoky eye that was so big. It's interesting too to think about how so many of our current day trends, again, are blush focused. And this one in particular feels like a reworked trend of like the sunset eye that was so big years ago. And that's not to say sunset eye was just like a trend that happened for that brief period of time, but you know what I mean. Okay, but this one, I'm trying to decide. This is not for me because on my skin tone, these brighter shades and especially a gold highlighter just would not work for me, but I think this is gorgeous when I've seen it done on deeper skin tones. I think the gold and then just the saturation of the orange and the hot pink is really pretty. So because of that, I think I'm gonna put it in Love That For You because like I said, I won't be participating in this, but when I'm seeing it on other people, I'm like, you know what, that's pretty. I really enjoy the gradient of it. I enjoy the like boldness of it. If you haven't tried it yet, I think try it out. With that, one more blush one, unsurprisingly, is the like lifted blush trend that has been so big these last few years of like essentially placing the blush where we were putting highlighter a few years back, like very, very high up on the cheeks. And I think this is where a lot of people will disagree with me because I know, again, going back similarly to my comments on boyfriend blush, and I do understand why people have the desire of wanting to create that lifted effect, but I just feel like the idea of like any lifting contour, lifting blush, lifting highlight, like using all these steps solely for the purpose of lifting, I'm kind of over because I think there are ways to lean into the beauty of a face that maybe is a bit more round, maybe doesn't lift as high up anymore, like leaning into the fullness of it, leaning into our individual faces. And I will even say with the like super high blush placement, even for the purpose of lifting, it doesn't work for every face shape, especially depending on like where your cheekbones are. Are your cheeks a little bit more flat? Like, I just think we've been fed this idea that it's like one size fits all and everyone should put their blush here to lift it up, but like that's just not how it works. You have to do some trial and error, see what works for you. Maybe you don't want to lift your face. So for me, I'm putting this in Wrap It Up. Wrap it up. And if you love your blush there, please keep doing it. I'm not saying I think people should stop doing that. I'm just saying like, let's explore some different placements. We don't know, not everything has to be about lifting the face. And also, hot take, not everyone looks best with like yes, your face might look more lifted this way, but it still might not be the best look for your face. Like maybe your face looks better when you do put the blush here and it is dragged down a little bit. Maybe that's what's best for your face. Okay, let's take a break from blush to talk about eyebrows. And this is where I'm gonna lose everybody else too, because I'm gonna talk about thin eyebrows and my love for thin eyebrows. I understand why people don't like thin eyebrows. And don't get me wrong, I was a child of the 90s. I've been through it too. I've been through the cycle of like the thin eyebrows to the Instagram eyebrows to the feather eyebrows to the return of thin eyebrows. And what I like is that like the thin eyebrows I'm seeing in 2024 are not quite as extreme as the like early 2000s, 90s brows where it was just a line. They're somewhere in the middle of still having some structure, but being on the thinner side. And I think when it comes to eyebrows, what I have always said is your best eyebrow is whatever is closest to your natural eyebrow. So if you naturally have full, gorgeous, voluminous eyebrows, you might not love a thin brow on you. But for me, my natural eyebrow is barely there. So a thin brow, I really like on my face shape. I think it's carried well amongst my other features. So for me, count me in. Thin brows all day for me, but like if you want to do a thicker brow, a different brow shape, I love that too. I guess that means we have to talk about feather brows. This one is like, I heard someone recently use the description of like eyebrow blindness, And I think that describes it perfectly. I think that also perfectly describes the Instagram brow era, like any phase of brows, even like the 90s, early 2000s, like thin brows, like any of these times, it's like we had this eyebrow blindness where we all thought it looked nice and we're looking at each other like, okay, cute. But you go back to it years later and you kind of laugh at it. So I think that's where I'm gonna have to place feather brows. I'm like, we're gonna regret this. And not actually, because I don't regret ever participating in these trends. I never look back on it and think, oh, I wish I didn't do that. If anything, there's like some comedy there of like, oh, how funny was that? How fun was that? Like, that was what we were doing at the time. Like, there's the nostalgia of it. But I think with feather brows, in moderation, they're very beautiful. Like when they're not so feathery, I think they look very natural. But like any brow trend, it just gets taken to the extreme. You know, with thin eyebrows, it went to the extreme. With Instagram brows, that went to the extreme. And with feather brows, it went to the extreme. But any of these, like on a scaled back level, actually can be really beautiful. So like the technique behind a feather brow, I'm still about and I'm still for, and I think sometimes it's done well, and I think it depends on the person. But for the most part, especially with like the very laminated look where like you turn to the side and your eyebrows are two-dimensional, I think we're gonna laugh at that. Okay, a few that were actually more trendy 2023, but I thought we'd slide them in, even though we're talking more so 2024 trends. But I mean, I'll even say though, the like laminated brows, I do think are kind of on their way out. So maybe those would have been more 2023, even 2022. But anyways, that doesn't matter. Let's talk about latte makeup. This is where we're getting into the very manufactured trends where you're like, what is latte makeup? Where did it come from? Overnight, nobody knew it yesterday. And then the next day, like everybody's doing it. Your whole feed is latte makeup. But the basic characteristic of this makeup look is that it's all brown shades and it's a lot more matte. I thought this was so pretty. I was all about the latte makeup look. And again, like a little callback to my thoughts earlier about these kind of manufactured trends. I do like that at their core, they're things you can create with stuff you already have. And I think there's a lot of creativity in that to get you almost out of a rut. I know when latte makeup first became popular, it's like, okay, yeah, it's a brown smoky eye. It's a like, there's so many names we could call it. It's basically just been renamed a million times, but there's something about it then becoming trendy again that I personally got excited. Like, oh, I haven't done just like a soft matte brown eye look in a while. Let me do that. And so for that, is this crazy? I think I'm gonna put it in, count me in. I just think it's a beautiful look. I think it's flattering on everyone. I think there are ways to like adapt this look to any makeup style, any skin tone. Anyone can wear this. Like, it's just pretty. Like, it's just like brown eyeshadow, but I like that. You know me, I love brown eyeshadow. Okay, so I'm trying to remember if this next one was before that or after that, but then we have Tomato Girl makeup, which hilarious. Tomato Girl makeup, some of the key features of this really were just like a terracotta-y red blush. Like, it was like a brownish red blush. I mean, there were some other things, but like that was the core of the Tomato Girl look. I'm gonna say I dabble. I tried it. I liked that. It was fun. I think some version of it will probably have a resurgence as we're entering summer. I'm sure we're gonna get another version of it. We also did have like Strawberry Girl makeup. There were a few other like girl makeups. Oh, Cold Girl. One that I don't think we saw, but I kept waiting for was Matcha Girl, or like Matcha something. I kept waiting for there to be a green focused eye look where it's just like a softer green shadow, or even like matcha nails or matcha something, because we had all the nail trends of like blueberry milk nails, glazed donut nails, whatever nails. I'm like, did I miss matcha nails? That was one I kept waiting for, like a soft green. Maybe this year. Maybe it's coming. Maybe I'm gonna start this trend. I do think all these trends are just made up by someone. I should do it. I should start Matcha Girl eyeshadow. Ooh, another one, and of course it's blush focused. Sunburnt blush. I wouldn't say this is a 2024 specific trend, but I would say it is still trending and popular in 2024. And again, just as an addition to all my thoughts on blush and alternative blush placements, I like the sunburnt blush look. Again, I just like a placement of blush that's not just about like needing to lift the face, like trying something different. And like, I do think it's so pretty and natural to have blush that just looks like you've been out in the sun. So I'm putting this one in Count Me In. I've been a big fan of sunburnt blush for a while now. I love it. I love sunburnt blush. Okay, another blush one. I'm like, should I rename this video Blush Trends? Because that's, again, what most trends these days are. But we have to talk about the baby pink, the doll blush, the bright pink cheek, and I think we could even like break that down even more to talk about like the pink under eye, the this and that, like the bright pink. It's just all pink. Pink, 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 pink. I love pink. It's my favorite color. I'm sitting next to some pink floral wallpaper. And on the other side of me is my pink bed. So don't get it twisted. I live for pink, but I can't take it anymore. I'm like, okay, there are other colors that we can put on our cheeks. And I do think in 2024 is where we have started to see the reintroduction of other shades of blush. We're getting peaches, we're getting nudes, we're getting some reds, we're getting purples. Purples are getting big too. So I'm happy to see pink blush take a step to the side. I will always love pink blush. I think there's a time and a place for pink blush, but it has been pink blush mania to the point where I'm like, enough is enough. There are other colors, and it's interesting too with just this very specific shade of pink that has been so hyper trendy for the last like 2 to 3 years. I think it's one of those ones I do kind of think a lot of people look back on and be like, that wasn't the shade for me. I think there's something about the cool undertone in a lot of these pinks where they have that like lavender undertone that I don't think it's for everyone. There's so many makeup looks that I see where I'm like, I would like this more if we swapped it out for a peach. Like, it takes the right undertone, the right complexion to pull off this pink. And don't get me wrong, I think there's a way that everyone can wear it. But a lot of times I'm just like, I don't know how this became the default shade of blush. Like, isn't that interesting? For the last couple of decades, we were rarely reaching for blush shades that were this bright. So to see it become the it shade, like this is the gold standard, the default blush shade has been bright pink, has been interesting to watch. But as much as I like it and I've participated and I have recommended Bubble 5 million times, I used to live and breathe for Bubble, I'm gonna put this in Wrap It Up. I still like the pink blush shades. I think you should still keep wearing your pink blush shades, but also reach for the blush next to it in your drawer. That's a different shade. Like, let's switch it up. I'm excited to see some peaches, some berries, some purples, some nudes. Like, the other shades of blush need their time too. Brown mascara. I don't even think I need to say much at all. And if you've even seen one of my videos ever, I think this one is more than obvious. I live and breathe for brown mascara. So this is going to count me in. Just the popularity of brown mascara has me so pumped because now it's encouraging more and more brown mascaras to launch. I feel like we're getting more options and better options, so that was easy. But one that I received a few times from you was the no mascara trend. And people have strong opinions on this. It's like the face with eyeshadow, with like full face makeup basically, but no mascara. I'll start off by saying I can see why people don't like it. I think sometimes it can be jarring to see the contrast there. I would almost say like similar to, no, that's not true. I was gonna say similar to like bleached brows when those were popular, where it's like you're almost looking at it thinking something is off. And I guess somewhat similar is the no mascara trend, but I really like it. I really like it. I think in a weird way, it makes everyone's eye color pop so much more with like less mascara there. I don't know, maybe you don't agree, maybe you do, but I enjoy this. I've tried it a bit. I feel like I haven't necessarily nailed it down though. I would say almost every time I've tried to do it, I'm looking and I'm like, something is missing, and that something is mascara, and then I go and put mascara on. So like, I'm trying to get on board with this because I really love it on other people, but I haven't quite figured it out on myself unless it's a makeup look that's like pretty bare, like almost nothing, sure. So Initially, I thought I was gonna put this in I dabble, but if I'm being honest with myself, I've only tried to dabble. I've never successfully done this, so I'm gonna have to put this in put it in Love This For You. Because like I said, when I see it done, I like it and it's pretty. I would almost say, again, kind of similar to bleached brows. Like, I don't think bleached brows are for me, but there have been a lot of times where I've seen it out and about in the wild, in real life, and I'm like, that looks so cool. Like, I thought about adding bleached brows on here, but I don't think it's super 2024 focused, but I guess neither were some of the others. But I always think it looks so cool when I see someone with that, and I love the confidence of it because, again, it's similar to, like, the lower blush placement where it's like it goes against everything you're told. And so for that, I think it's so fun and edgy, but I don't love it on myself. Next, I want to talk about blue eyeshadow. I saw this answered a lot when I asked you on Instagram, and this was also a big trend prediction that I saw from a lot of publications for 2024. I would say I personally haven't seen this so much, but maybe that's just me. It's interesting with any trend or just anything on the internet. All of our algorithms are so personalized that it's easy to think like, oh, everyone's doing this or everyone's doing that, when maybe they're not, or like something could be so trendy and it's just not made its way to my algorithm yet. So in my eyes, I'm like, oh, are people doing blue eyeshadow? But you might be like, girl, everyone on my feed is doing blue eyeshadow. So it's really interesting the way that algorithms influence trends, and even not even necessarily influence trends, but even the perception of trends. Because some of these that I have shared today that I've been saying, oh, I've been seeing everywhere. You might be like, what are you talking about? I thought you made that up. But for me, I'm like, oh, really? My whole feed has been boyfriend blush. But anyways, blue eyeshadow. Again, I had a feeling we would see this a lot this year because I was seeing it predicted everywhere, and specifically from Pinterest predicts. Well, I don't know why I had such a hard time saying that, but they do their predictions every year based on the uptick in searches, and they were saying blue eyeshadow was about to be it, or actually just blue in general. And I don't love blue eyeshadow on myself. I would say once every 4 times that I wear blue eyeshadow, I think it looks nice. But the other 3 times I have to suffer through because I hate it. So that's not a good ratio. So because of that, I'm always very deterred from wearing blue. Like sometimes I wear it and I'm like, wait, today it's working. But normally I don't like it on myself. And I think I just have to find that perfect marriage of like the outfit, like the tones in that, the tones in the cheek products, whether that means like opting for more cool toned bronzers, blushes, highlights. Like I think blue in a way, it's a little more of an advanced shade to wear. I feel like if you're feeling like blue is not wearing well for you, it could sometimes even be the other things that you're pairing it with, just because it is such a bold and cool toned shade. So I don't know that blue is for me. I don't know if I've mastered blue yet. I also don't really like to wear the color blue. Love it on other people though. So that's why I'm gonna put that in. Love that for you. Because anytime I've seen someone else in blue eyeshadow, I'm a huge fan. It's just that I struggle to wear it. And maybe this will encourage me to try a blue look soon. Maybe I need to go back to blue. Let me know where you would rank these on the tier list. Let me know if there are any other trends I should include, if I should do a part 2. But thank you so much for watching, and I will go ahead and see you in my next one. Bye.